Have you ever wondered what would happen if you suddenly had everything you ever wanted? But no one knew. That's exactly what happened to me. And to find out who really cared, I had to test my family in the most shocking way possible. Before we dive in, hit that subscribe button and like this video if you want to see the full story of what I did next. This is every retaliation. I never imagined my life could change with a single slip of paper. My name is Sofia, and for most of my life, I felt like a ghost walking among people who barely noticed me. At 28, I was working long, monotonous hours at a job where my contributions barely registered. My apartment was small, cramped, and filled with the clutter of bills, receipts, and unanswered letters. I had dreams, yes, but they always felt out of reach, like distant stars you could see but never touch. Every Friday, I bought a lottery ticket. It was a ritual, a whisper of hope amid the gray of routine life. I never expected it to mean anything. Most people would call it a fantasy, a foolish indulgence, but for me, it was more. It was a secret rebellion against my life, a way to remind myself that maybe luck could exist, even in my world. I would always tell myself, it's just a ticket, nothing will happen. And that's what I believed. Until that Friday, the night I realized I had one is etched into my memory in excruciating detail. I was sitting at my tiny kitchen table, the hum of the refrigerator filling the silence, the flickering light of my laptop casting shadows across the room. I held the ticket in my hand, glancing at my phone repeatedly, hardly daring to believe it. One number matched, then another, then another. My hands began shaking violently, my breath caught in my throat. My heart raced as the last number confirmed it. $284 million, the largest jackpot in state history. I felt my knees weaken, and I sank into my chair. For a few minutes, I couldn't move, couldn't speak. The reality of it all was almost too much to bear. I had actually won. Every fantasy I had ever entertained, every late-night daydream of luxury, freedom, and security, it was all suddenly real. I wanted to shout, to run into the streets screaming, to call someone, anyone, and tell them the unbelievable news, but then a voice whispered in my mind, not yet, not until you know who really cares about you. And just like that, an idea formed, brutal, daring, and cunning. I would pretend to be desperate for money. I would call my family one by one and see their reactions. I wanted to know who would help, who would mock, who would show even a hint of genuine concern. I picked up my phone, my fingers trembling as I dialed my mom's number first. I tried to make my voice sound weak, vulnerable, and scared, like I was crumbling under some invisible weight. Mom, I don't know what to do. I really need some help. My voice cracked slightly, and I forced myself to hold it together. There was a long, suffocating silence, and then, click, she hung up, just like that. My heart sank. My chest tightened. My own mother, the person I had once trusted to always be there, had hung up on me. No concern, no questions, nothing. My mind reeled. How could she just? Hang up, shaken and hurt, I dialed my older brother next. He was always blunt, always critical, but I still hoped for some shred of decency, some sign that he cared. I tried to sound desperate again, explaining my situation. My voice tinged with fake panic. Are you serious? He said, and then laughter. You've always been a loser, Sofia. Figure it out yourself. I felt like I had been punched. The sting of rejection, the harshness of his words, cut deeper than I ever expected. I had always hoped that at least one family member would be my anchor, my support, but there was nothing, only mockery and scorn. Just when I was about to give up hope, I remembered my younger sister, the baby of our family, the one I'd always quietly admired for her kindness, empathy, and fearless heart. I dialed her number, my hands still shaking, my pulse racing. Sofia, I don't have much, she said immediately, but I'll do what I can. How much do you need? Before I could answer, she added, I'll be there. No hesitation, no questions, no judgment. She was simply there. And she did something I could never forget. She drove 300 miles with her last $700, leaving behind everything she had, just to come help me. I couldn't believe it. My heart swelled with gratitude, awe, and an unexpected wave of love. She risked everything she had to support me, her older sister, in my time of need. Sitting in my tiny apartment, watching the minutes tick by as I waited for her arrival, I thought about the stark contrast between my family members. My mother, my brother, they had revealed themselves fully, showing indifference, selfishness, and cruelty. My sister had shown love without expectation, care without hesitation, and loyalty without condition. Hours later, I heard the faint sound of her car pulling into the driveway. She stepped out, tired, sweaty, but smiling. clutching her small envelope of money as though it were a treasure she had fought to protect. She handed it to me and said simply, "I'm here, Sofia, that's what matters." I sat there holding the envelope, my mind spinning. Suddenly, the jackpot felt different. It wasn't just money. It wasn't just luxury or power. It was clarity. It was revelation. The ticket had become more than a path to wealth. It had become a mirror reflecting the true faces of the people around me. I remembered all the times I had been dismissed, overlooked, or ridiculed. Times when I had silently endured insults, sarcasm, and neglect. But now I held not just the ticket, but also knowledge, leverage, and truth. I could see who loved me and who never had, who would stand by me and who would run at the first hint of trouble. As night fell, I sat on my couch, the ticket clutched tightly in my hands, imagining the days ahead. I realized that I could enjoy this wealth for myself, sure, but there was something more powerful at play. I could expose the reality of my family. I could reward those who deserved it and confront those who didn't. I thought about my sister sleeping in the guest room, exhausted but happy. She hadn't asked for anything in return. She had come because she cared, and suddenly a sense of purpose washed over me. This jackpot wasn't just a win. It was an opportunity to see the truth, and I intended to see it fully, to experience every reaction, every emotion, every secret truth about those I had once trusted. The hours stretched into the night, and I felt a mix of anticipation, excitement, and calm I had never known. I had no idea exactly how the days ahead would unfold, but I knew this. The story was just beginning. And what I was about to do next would change everything for everyone involved forever. I woke up the next morning with a strange mixture of excitement and nervousness. The ticket still sat in my purse, folded carefully, as though it were the most delicate thing in the world. I kept thinking about the previous day, replaying every reaction in my head. My mom hanging up, my brother mocking me, my sister driving hundreds of miles with her last $700. The contrast couldn't have been starker. My family had revealed themselves in ways I hadn't fully anticipated, and now, with the jackpot in my pocket, I knew the real test was only beginning. I wanted to see the full spectrum of their reactions. Not just the first impulse, but how far their love, or lack of it, truly went. I had to be patient, strategic. I couldn't just tell them everything. That would ruin the experiment. I had to play it out carefully, like a chess game. First, I needed to maintain the illusion that I was still struggling. I called my mom again, trying a different approach. "Mom, I don't have any food left. I don't know how I'll get through the week." My voice was shaking, but this time I added a soft sob, making it sound more desperate. There was a pause. Then she said flatly, "Sofia, I don't know what you want me to do. Figure it out. I have my own problems." She hung up again. My heart sank, but I wasn't surprised. The disinterest, the coldness. It was all there, just as I had feared. Then I thought about my brother. I wanted to see if he would ever show a flicker of concern, if he would step up when pressed. I called him mid-afternoon. I'm at the end of my rope, okay? I don't know what to do. Please, I need help." He laughed again, cruel and sharp. "Wow, really you, in trouble. You've been failing at life forever, and now you expect me to swoop in and save you. Forget it." I could feel the anger bubbling inside me, but I forced it down. I had to remain calm. The fun, or the point, of this experiment wasn't my immediate reaction. It was to see them reveal themselves fully, and they had, both of them, without even realizing it. And then there was my sister. I couldn't stop thinking about her. She had driven 300 miles with her last bit of money, exhausted, and she hadn't complained once. She had shown me what real care looked like, and now, sitting across from her as we had breakfast, I could see the worry etched on her face. I didn't know what else to do," she said softly. Her hands were wrapped around her coffee mug, shaking slightly. "I mean, I didn't even have much, but I thought I could help." I smiled at her, trying to hide the emotions swirling inside me. "It means more than you know," I said softly, placing a hand over hers. I didn't tell her that I had the jackpot, that everything she thought she was helping me with was already a tiny fraction of what I actually had. Not yet. This was still a test. Over the next few days, I watched their actions, their words, the way they moved through their routines, the way they responded to my struggle. It was exhausting and fascinating at the same time. My mom continued to avoid me, offering vague excuses or ignoring my calls entirely. My brother occasionally texted, but only to criticize or belittle. And my sister, she became more and more involved, checking in, worrying, offering advice, lending support. She was a constant in a sea of indifference. I couldn't help but think back to our childhood. I remembered the times my mom had been cold, absent, or quick to scold. I remembered the times my brother had laughed at me when I fell or failed, never offering a hand. And my sister, she had always been different. Even as children, she had been the one who stayed up with me when I was scared of storms, the one who shared her lunch when I had none, the one who defended me when everyone else ignored me. That history suddenly made her actions make perfect sense. Love and loyalty had always been in her heart, and now she had proven it beyond any doubt. I decided to push the boundaries a little further. I wanted to see if there were limits to her dedication. I called her one evening, pretending that I had lost even the small bit of money she had given me. I could hear the panic in her voice immediately. "Sofia, are you serious? What happened?" I don't know. I lied, tears welling up in my eyes for effect. "Everything's gone. I'm at zero. I don't know how I'll survive." She gasped audibly. "I'll come again. I'll do whatever it takes, just don't panic, okay, I'll be there." And just like that, she drove again. I knew the exact moment she set off. I had been tracking her route via her phone, pretending not to know, pretending to worry. I watched the map light up as she moved closer and closer. My chest tightened, not with fear, but with this strange, thrilling mixture of pride and sorrow. She was risking her everything for me, believing I was in true danger. And she didn't once ask what I had, what I could give in return. Her love was pure, selfless, and unwavering. Meanwhile, my brother finally heard about her drive, through a mutual friend who happened to see her on the road. I saw the messages she accidentally sent him while navigating her route. "I'm on my way, don't worry, I've got her back." The look on his face when I later confronted him about it, well, that was priceless. He had no idea she was that committed, that someone could actually act out of genuine care without expecting anything in return. My mom remained oblivious. She continued her cold routines, answering curtly whenever I tried to call, never offering anything beyond shallow words of advice or criticism. It became more and more obvious why I had learned to be self-reliant for so long. The clarity was both liberating and heartbreaking. By the end of the week, I had made a decision. I would reveal the truth, but only slowly, in my own way. I wanted my sister to understand that her love and dedication had not gone unnoticed. She deserved recognition, reward, and security beyond what she could have imagined. My mom and brother, they needed to confront their own selfishness and the reality that their actions had consequences. And in that moment, sitting in my tiny apartment with the city lights flickering outside the window, I felt something I hadn't felt in a long time: power. Not the power of money, not yet, but the power of truth, of knowledge, of insight into the hearts of those around me. I realized that this wasn't just a test of generosity or loyalty. It was a test of character, a revelation of who my family truly was, and I was ready. I was ready to move forward, to reward the good, to confront the indifferent, and to finally claim not just my money, but my dignity and clarity. Little did they know, the jackpot wasn't just a windfall. It was the key to exposing the truth, and by the time this was over, everything about our family, everything they thought they knew about me, would change forever. I had spent days watching, waiting, and thinking. My sister had proven herself beyond any doubt. My mom and brother had revealed their true selves, their indifference, their selfishness, and I had been patient, silent, holding the secret that could change everything. $284 million, all mine, hidden in plain sight. That morning, I woke up with a sense of determination I hadn't felt before. Today was the day, today the test would end. I wanted my sister to feel the recognition she deserved. I wanted my mom and brother to face the consequences of their neglect and arrogance. And I wanted, most of all, to feel the freedom of revealing the truth, finally. I started with my sister. I called her early, pretending to be exhausted, overwhelmed, still trapped in financial struggle. "Sofia, I don't know what to do," I whispered, my voice trembling for effect. She arrived within hours, as always, her concern written on her face. But this time I didn't need her help. I didn't need her money. I smiled at her, holding the ticket in my hands. "I want you to see something," I said softly. When I showed her the ticket, her eyes went wide. No way, this is real." "Yes," I said, watching her face light up, tears welling. "It's all real, and it's yours too, in a way." I explained that everything she had done, every sacrifice, every mile driven, every worry, had meant more than money could ever measure. I had planned to share my wealth with her, quietly, because she deserved it. Her loyalty, her love, her courage, these were worth more than millions, and I meant it. Her hands shook as she reached for mine. "Sofia, I don't even know what to say." "You don't have to say anything," I whispered. "You just have to know that you are loved, valued, and that your actions matter." The joy on her face, the unfiltered, pure happiness, it was intoxicating. I had never seen anyone so selfless rewarded so quickly. And I knew right then that everything I had done, the tests, the waiting, the watching, was worth it. Then came the moment I dreaded the most, my mom and brother. I had to reveal the jackpot carefully, watching their reactions, seeing their true colors again in a more permanent way. I invited my mom over, pretending that I wanted to discuss finances. She arrived skeptical, her arms crossed, her eyes scanning the apartment with mild disinterest. I placed the ticket on the table. "Mom, this is real," I said calmly. "I've won $284 million. Her reaction was a mix of shock and confusion. "What? How? Why didn't you tell me?" she stammered. I looked her directly in the eyes. "I wanted to see who really cared, and you hung up on me when I said I needed help. You had your chance. This isn't about the money. This is about you showing up when it mattered. You didn't." Her face fell. She opened her mouth to speak, then closed it again. I didn't give her a chance to manipulate the situation. I let the silence fill the room. The truth had been delivered. Next was my brother. I called him, trying to keep my voice neutral. "Come by, I want to talk." When he arrived, I placed the ticket in front of him, watching his eyes go wide. $284 million. He repeated, disbelief mixed with greed. "Yes," I said softly. "And I want you to understand something. The money is mine, but what you did, or didn't do, has consequences. You mocked me, laughed at me, refused to help. This jackpot isn't just a win, it's a mirror, and it's showing me who you really are." He swallowed hard, shame and regret flickering across his face. For once, he had no words to defend himself. He could see the truth, and it was inescapable. I decided to offer them a choice not out of spite, but out of fairness. I told my sister she could have a generous portion of the winnings, enough to change her life completely. My mom and brother could only see the consequences of their choices. If they wanted help in the future, they would need to demonstrate genuine care and effort, not just words. The power had shifted, and in that moment, I felt the exhilaration of control, clarity, and justice. The jackpot had given me not just wealth, but the ultimate insight into my family. It showed me loyalty, betrayal, love, and selfishness, all in raw, unfiltered forms. Over the next few days, I worked to secure my sister's future. I helped her pay off debts, invest wisely, and pursue her dreams. She cried, laughed, and hugged me endlessly, and I felt an overwhelming sense of fulfillment that money alone could never buy. My mom and brother were forced to confront their behavior. Slowly, carefully, I watched them change, or at least attempt to. I didn't forgive easily. I didn't forget. But they learned in the hardest way that actions have consequences. That neglect, cruelty, and selfishness leave marks that money cannot erase. By the time it was all settled, I realized something profound. Winning the lottery wasn't about the money. It wasn't about luxury or fame or even comfort. It was about truth. It was about discovering who was truly in your corner when it mattered most. And for me, that person had always been my sister. As I sat in my apartment one evening, tickets safely stored away, I reflected on the journey. Betrayal, loyalty, sacrifice, and revelation. It had all come together in a way I could never have imagined. And though my life had changed forever, the most valuable lesson wasn't about money at all. It was about people, love, and the rare, irreplaceable courage to show up when it counts. Sometimes winning isn't about what you have, it's about what you learn. And this time, the jackpot had taught me everything.